From Transformers Studio Series, it is Airachnid, as she was depicted in the movie Transformers 1. Yes, Hasbro continues its fine tradition of releasing these movie toys way after the movie hit theaters and is gone, and we're not even getting a second one to send to purchase. Anyway, Arachnid, very cool character. Obviously a reimagining or based on the one in Prime, which is voiced by the incredible Gina Torres and was pretty sick. This one's pretty sick too, and we're gonna go through and have fun with it. But before we go any further, I do wanna shout out to our sponsor for this video, Toy Hacks. They make amazing decals that you can use to spiff up your G1s, your G2s, or enhance the later lines of Transformers. Power of the Primes, Combiner Wars, Siege, Age of the Primes, Studio Series, anything else that ends with Primes. That kind of thing, just kind of like this Devastator over here, which, you know, looks a little more G1-ish. And of course, they have backgrounds and their armory, so check them out at toyhacks.com. But we are going to get into this rather sinister handmaiden, right-hand woman, lieutenant of Sentinel Prime named Airachnid. And if you're new to the channel, I'm Captain Kyle. Welcome aboard. Been watching for a while. Thanks for coming back. All right, let's do this. Oh, first this. Be right back. I told you I'd be right back. That didn't take long at all. But let's open up Airachnid, and before I totally chop her open, let's take a little bit of a look at the packaging, because again, you can see her inside the package there, has the two forms on the side, and it shows the forms on the back as well. And it's definitely kind of in keeping with, it's almost like a Bayverse Transformer just because of the lack of color, but we'll forgive it in this case because she's a badass stealth character. She's kind of like what Soundwave was to Megatron, she was to Sentinel Prime. At least it wasn't voiced by Townsend Coleman. That was animated, and he turned out to be not so bad. All right, pulling it out. Shut up, Logan. You can see her there on her cardboard prison. And you can also see behind there is a ton of her wings and tentacles and legs and whatever. Obviously, she goes with a spider-style state of being. She identifies a little bit as Arachnid, so her pronouns are ick, ick. And her weapons are in the new plastic bags, which they're doing instead of doing the paper. So the tissue paper was more environmentally, I guess, sound, but I don't know why they didn't just create some Autobots and Decepticons paper and continue with that. They've decided to go with plastic bag. I've not heard of people having problems with accessories being stolen. Certainly entire figure swapping. And I would think that having the weapons in a plastic bag would make figure swapping even easier if they decided to just, you know, actually include the weapons with the figure that they swapped in. I can't imagine anyone taking a Prime Airachnid and trading it for this, just because that one is a cool toy, and I've done a review. But two small guns, very small, but now it's time to snip out Airachnid. I don't know why this blast effect is attached to this. What you see in frame looks pretty nice. What's out of frame is lots of stuff, not nearly as organized as I try to appear. But one day I'll get there. It's a slow process, and they keep sending me more toys. Well, I pay for them for the most part. Just as I'm snipping, just to clarify, the majority of the toys that I review, I purchase. I do have a few places that are very kind and send me toys at no cost to review, or, you know, blockies or stuff like that. But anything that you see that's an official Hasbro product, pretty much I had to pay for. All right, trying to get her through here, which seems to be possible. Gotta feed her through. That didn't sound right. Shut up, Logan. And there she is outside of her packaging. All right, let's get this plastic shit off my table. Don't need the box. Don't need the cardboard. That will go in recycling later. Here are her weapons, but let's take a look at the introduction. Oh, a shitty piece of paper. Well, that's going away. Right, Jennifer? Anyways, you know I call out to various viewers just so people will leave comments. So please, ask away in the comments. I love comments. They're great. Okay, so looking at the instructions and how she is supposed to be poised in her robot mode. I mean, she does have very thin legs, but she also has legs in the back that kind of, they don't even reach the ground, but it's all good. You know, if you try to knock her back, she can very easily jump forward. And she has these two guns, which apparently go into her hands. Or actually, they go onto her arms. My mistake. They could probably go into her hands. Into her hands and on her arms. So we'll do one of each just so. A little tough getting it in the hole. Logan, I go to town on that one. I'm sure you have a tough time getting it in the hole. There she is armed. Now I'm trying to see, other than putting them on her arms, there does not appear to be another way to attach her weapons. And I gotta say, I actually kind of like the arms better than the fists. It has that Decepticon vibe, even though she's technically not a Decepticon, even though at this point she is not affiliated with any particular faction because the factions hadn't come around yet. She's a Cybertronian. Bit of a bitch sometimes, but you know, Cybertronian. But I do like what they've done to make her a lot like the movie version. It's a pretty good thing. And you could almost see her using her legs to climb quickly and attack people. Looking at her head, I was expecting more eyes, and I'm not seeing, well, on the sides, I guess. She's got eyes on the side. It's been a little while since I watched that movie. It's good. Not as good as, you know, the 1986 original animated, but I should probably rewatch it at some point. Maybe enough rewatches. Oops, it does have those skinny legs. But maybe with enough rewatches on Paramount Plus, they'll be like, yeah, all right, we'll make another one. Part of the problem with the cost, I think, is, get back here, is that they hired some well-known actors to play the roles. Like, you know, Scarlett Johansson to play Alita 1, marvelous job. Did very well. But her paycheck is probably up there. She's like an A-lister, Chris Hemsworth, same thing. If they were paying these actors that much money to be in these animated movies, when your audience doesn't really care who's voice acting. If it, you know, obviously if it's Peter Cullen, we want that. But this was a younger Prime, it would have been fine. They could have probably gotten David Kaye at a less expensive price. Okay, enough of my rant. But if they paid the actors less, they had less of a budget, maybe it would have made a little bit more money. Of course, their marketing sucked, but the movie was fantastic. But if they used less expensive voice actors, it would have probably done just as well as far as money and cost less. So Hollywood, call me. I can help with animated films. All right, so she's very spidery. She has lots of joys. Let's go through some posability because it's going to be a little weird with her. So first of all, I do want to see if she can do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme. And she is oddly proportioned. She has this very short torso, very long legs. I mean, she is a robot, so she doesn't necessarily need to have human proportions, but trying to, let's see here, maybe. Ah, leg fell off. So close. She just about can do one. If you look at the way her legs are, they're not quite straight across, but it's very close. So she can do a split of sorts. Ankle swivels, I mean, her ankles do not appear to have swivels, but I guess stability is more from, I mean, you can spread her legs and you can prop her up with her additional legs in the back. Can she kick forward? Yeah, she can kick forward quite high. And she seems to have a little bit double jointedness, so she could like really kick high. Even has a gun on the back of her leg, it looks like. So she could kick high, kick someone back, and then fire the gun. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be like a sick move. Kicking backwards? I mean, you gotta be careful not to get tangled up with your legs, but there it is. Probably harder to see because everything is the same color, which again, she is one of the less colorful of the figures in Transformers 1. Sidekick, well, if you try to go straight out to the side, you can. Do notice that there is this piece, which is probably part of the transformation. If you move it out of the way, she can do a sidekick. And if you move the other one out of the way, she can do a pretty high. Again, it can't go straight across. The ball joints don't quite allow it without popping out the legs, but can be done. Twisting at the waist, that is not happening, unfortunately. The arms, well, they could go all the way around, but you kind of have to angle them out in order to avoid these pieces in the back. She does have elbows, she does have a swivel. They can go out somewhat to the side, no twisting of the fists. Yeah, the arms are a little constrained, and these shoulder pads that she has kind of keeps her from going as far out as you might like. With a swivel, you can definitely give double barrel blast forward. So again, I don't like to complain too much about posability because she is a far cry better than what I grew up with Transformer Generation 1, which we didn't even call G1 at the time because there was no G2. There was nothing else but Transformers. Anyways, her head can turn all the way around. She can kind of look up and look down. Not really tilting, well, a little bit of tilting side to side. So she's got a lot of good posability and interesting joints. I don't think we went through the bend at the knee, but she does have a knee, but it's way up here. Again, her proportions are not human, which they don't need to be again because she is a robot. She's also got this weird backwards joint, so she can move that way. I do want to spend a little more time on her posability because she has these kind of wing leg things that can go way up here. They can go backwards like this, and then she can swing them around front, so that can be an attack. In fact, they have little spikes she can like smash into someone's head and drain their brain. Brain module. Whatever, Megatron, shut up. Stop trying to possess me. So these make for interesting additional limbs. Again, she's kind of based on or inspired by the Airachnid and named after the Airachnid from Prime. So she's got all kinds of weapons available to her. These back legs can move. Well, you can fold up these, but they can also just kind of move a little bit side to side. And they're supposed to be out like that. It looks like there is a slide joint in there. Maybe not. Nope. But that does give her additional stability. In fact, you can practically stand her, make her look like she's almost hovering using those. They are on ball joints, so but depending on how you position them, they can add stability. So you can put her in a pose where she's got her knees bent and her feet planted widely, being very careful in my terminology here, just so Logan doesn't have too much ammunition. But you can also use those in the back to kind of keep her stable. So despite her super thin legs, which kind of goes with the character and what, she was doing, there is some ability for additional stability. And you could probably even, let me see here, if you really needed some extra stability, you could even put these down and they could help a little bit. So that now she's got like 6 points on the ground. Okay, now she's got 6. So very spidery, very interesting. Quite honestly, I'm not a big fan of spiders in real life. This does not give me the heebie-jeebies, and I have no problems with Black Arachnia or any of those. It's the real ones that I'm not a big fan of. I mean, I understand they have a purpose and the whole circle of life, but yeah, did not enjoy Arachnophobia, the movie, or the condition. So, okay, so we have looked at her posability. I think as a robot, she definitely has more of an alien quality than many of the Transformers, which is not, again, a bad thing. They are from an alien planet, and she's definitely one of the more alien appearing and alien acting Transformers. And this piece can apparently go up and down. That's probably part of the transformation. It's supposed to be down in robot mode. I accidentally moved it up, but it's my toy. I can do what I want. So let's check out her alt mode. And I suspect I'm going to have to remove these weapons, but I'll probably be putting them back on at some point. Apparently the rotor part, which I can tell it's a rotor, is supposed to start out separated, then you put it together. It came in the package together, so I don't see an advantage of taking it apart. So I'm just putting it back together. Just wanted to see what it was supposed to do separated, but I can't think of a thing. So there she is in her brand new drone-ish, drone from hell form. Very well armed. She's got guns here, and yeah, I mean, this is like Twitch's evil stepmother, and it's a pretty complex transformation. Certainly clever. I couldn't have figured it out without instructions. All we need now is a little instructions and a lot of luck. More than you can imagine. She does have a rotor back here that, spins around, but you got to be careful that when you're spinning, you don't undo the, I don't know if it's even supposed to be a protective ring because she doesn't seem very protective of people. But it is a very interesting transformation. I have to say, because she is not a standard looking vehicle or even a tank or, anything of that nature, it was kind of a pain in the butt. I did actually look on YouTube. Goes by Russ. Thanks for the instructions. I had to rewind a little bit, but we got there. I think I got there. But yeah, it's definitely something I would keep in robot mode on display. It's definitely an interesting vehicle mode. I almost think they're like copying some of the third-party places and just making it a little more complex than it needs to be. There's a lot of twisting, a lot of turning, a lot of moving things, but we got there eventually. Yeah, I think it's fun. I will probably put her back into robot mode like now, because I did not give you her measurements. In her drone-ish mode, she is just a tad shy of 7 inches. But once you get the transformation figured out, again, it's a lot of moving parts, a lot of twisting, but once you get that down, it becomes much easier. But she's super double jointed. I know some people are probably like, ooh, double jointed. Yeah, relax your pervs. And in some cases, I was a little concerned about, is this actually supposed to move this way? But back in robot mode from head to toe, she's actually about a smidge over 5.5 inches. But of course, if you put these up as far as you can, then she can be quite a bit taller. Yeah, a bit of a challenging transformation, clever, lots of twisting, but once you do it once or twice, it'll come natural. I still think I'm going to just display her in this form. I do like actually her upper limbs, whoa, don't fall over, in this kind of threatening, almost like sideways scorpion type mode. But there she is, a fun figure, definitely. And if you are having fun watching these videos, by all means, feel free to subscribe. And while you may consider her kind of bland, I'm sure that our sponsor Toy Hacks is taking a look at this and figuring out how to spruce her up. In fact, you should check out Toy Hacks for all kinds of decals for G1, G2, and beyond, all the way up to the latest Age of the Primes and Studio Series. Plus, they have some nice upgrade stuff in their armory and weapons and backdrops. Check them out at toyhacks.com. And while you are mulling over this particular version of Airachnid, you can actually check out the Prime version over here. I did a review on her and figure out what you want to do there. She's cool. And we will see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting.